Okay, how about a little good news, a little positive news? Bernie Sanders over the weekend was interviewed, and he he has some choice words for a newly elected senator. Her name is Elissa Slotkin. I'm going to get back to her in a minute, but the newscaster, who, by the way, I got to say, did not a great job. The questions that they ask are so leading and coming from the wrong place. But her question was, on your tour, your oligarchy tour, you're using this word oligarchy. And Elissa Slotkin is saying that a lot of people don't know what that word means. So aren't you alienating a lot of people who don't know what that word means? And Bernie's like, I mean, I halfway expected him to facepalm, you know, but he kind of chuckles and he says, well, we had like 35,000 people in LA. We had about 35,000 people in Colorado. We had like 30,000 people in Fulton County. California is like a rural county. I think the message is getting across. And then he gives an easy to understand definition of oligarchy, where the wealthiest 1% control everything, and the 99% of the rest of us control nothing. That corporate money from these wealthy billionaire oligarchs influence politicians to get their policies done, and we, the American citizenry, we get nothing. Pretty straightforward definition. And for Elissa Slotkin to go on a diatribe about how people don't understand the definition of the word oligarchy, she could have explained it in less words than it took her to obfuscate from it. Now, I find this pretty fascinating. Elissa Slotkin is a newly elected senator. She is what some people would consider a centrist. I would just consider her a Republican in Democratic clothing. A little background on Senator Slotkin. Oh, first of all, you might remember her. After Trump gave his State of the Union, not State of the Union speech a couple of months ago, back in February, Chuck Schumer chose Elissa Slotkin to be the rebuttal speaker. And Chuck Schumer, I don't know if you guys have noticed, he's not really making good choices these days. I don't want to get too much in the Chucky the Schooms with the glasses down here and we're going to win, folks. We're going to fight. We're going to win. I'm going to talk to my friends, the Baileys. They live out in Long Island. They're imaginary, of course. I made them up in my brains. But those folks out there, they tell me how to do policy. Anyway, Elissa Slotkin is his senator of choice for the future of the Democratic Party. Elissa Slotkin, former CIA agent, formerly George Bush's security advisor, George W. Bush's security advisor. That should be enough. She was endorsed by the only Democrat endorsed by Liz Cheney. Hey, sounds great. She is pro-Israeli genocide. She voted for the Laken-Riley Act, which is basically the, hey, we can kick out anybody out of this country and send them to a gulag without any due process, because this poor girl named Laken-Riley was killed by an immigrant, and that's enough to kick out everybody else who didn't kill a poor white girl. She is bought and paid for by crypto, which is just a scam. Whatever you do, don't get hooked into crypto. Of course, our economy could be as such where the dollar goes down and we just replace everything with crypto. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. But crypto, based on absolutely nothing, scam, bullshit money. Her biggest donor, Elissa Slotkin. She voted for 8 of Donald Trump's cabinet members. Is she a Democrat, or is she a Democrat in name only? She's absolutely full of fucking shit. And for her to say that people don't understand what oligarchy is and Bernie Sanders is just some coastal elitist, she sounds like a fucking coastal elitist by saying, oh, these people, these common clay, these ordinary people of the American land, they couldn't possibly understand the definition of oligarchy. So, Bernie Sanders, you're an elitist and you're talking over their head. Fuck you, lady. If I was Bernie Sanders and I was on that, that news interview, I would have said, fuck you, you fucking Republican bitch. But Bernie Sanders has got a little bit more class than I do, so he didn't do that. One of her pet peeves is that we shouldn't use oligarchy and we should just be going after Donald Trump and calling him King Trump. Now, here's the same old centristy, triangulating, centristy, third way Democrat bullshit. Same thing that Joe Biden did when he says, we're going to call them MAGA extremist. When you focus all your ire on Donald Trump, King Trump, you are avoiding the system that led us to this. You are avoiding all of the billionaire donors that are standing directly behind him, funding every one of his ridiculously idiotic policy prescriptions. If you say oligarchy, you are talking about the system that we are currently in, where the wealth of a handful of people is controlling our entire economic agenda. Elissa Slotkin's idea is like, no, it's just Donald Trump. Don't go after the rich guys because, those rich guys, they donate to my campaign. And, if we start going after, all the billionaires, then those billionaires are not going to be able to donate to me anymore. And I'm not going to be able to run for re-election. So ixnay on the whole oligarchy thing. That is the reason why she doesn't like Bernie Sanders and AOC talking about the wealth and the undue power that the oligarchic system we have, is having an effect on us. She doesn't want anybody to talk about that because those people donate to her centristy Republican ass. Girl, just leave the goddamn party. Just go be a Republican, Seriously, just go be a Republican. We don't need this shit. And if Chuck Schumer thinks that she is the new rising Democratic star, it just shows you how fucking out of touch he is. Governor Pritzker recently gave a speech where he actually said the right thing. This guy's a billionaire. I'm not saying that, he's the billionaire exception that proves the rule. No. Honestly, I've said it before. I don't think there should be any billionaires. I think once you win your $1 billion, you won capitalism. You're a winner. Congratulations. Go live on your island or your mountaintop with John fucking Galt and leave us alone. You won. You've got all the money you can shake a stick at. You don't need anything else. But, $1 billion is just not enough. You've got to have 200, 300, 400 billion. Elon Musk wants to be the first trillionaire. Although, all the fucking up he's doing, I don't know if that's going to happen for him. But, we still got Jeff Bezos. We still got Jeff Zuckerberg. We got plenty of unreal, exceedingly wealthy, corrupt asshat billionaires out there as it is. Even if Elon Musk doesn't become that first trillionaire, it doesn't matter. We're already cooked, But J.B. Pritzker, he gave a speech recently where he says, we need to fight the Republicans. He didn't say we need to go after Trump. He said we need to fight the corruption of the Republicans. The fact that they, the Republicans, are laying down and letting Donald Trump walk all over our Constitution. That is the answer. Don't be singling out one guy. Joe Biden is like, well, if we can get rid of this one guy, then everybody else will just kind of magically go away. And, the fever will break and people will come back to their senses. No, honey, it's never worked. It's not working now. It's never worked. So you need to be out there actually pointing the finger at Republicans. We do not need to compromise with these people. We need to defeat them. We need to make their policies look so goddamn bad that nobody ever votes for them again. That is how you win. Donald Trump is a symptom. He is the pustule head on the zit that is our corruption in this country. He is a symptom. He is the natural effect of money in politics. It's not one man. It is the system that we are living in. And it's pretty obvious with the amount of people showing up for Bernie and AOC's oligarchy rallies. They're liking the cut of Bernie's jib, man. They're understanding what oligarchy means. They're not as dumb as you think they are or hope they are, Elissa. And by the way, I was having a conversation recently, a back and forth with somebody about Mayor Pete Buttigieg. And I will give him credit that he does a pretty good job when he goes on Fox News or he talks to some right-wing pundit and he kind of sets them straight. I'll give him credit for that. But this McKenzie centristy guy, he is not the answer, honey. He is not the answer. If we have free and fair elections in 2028, which that kind of is up for debate at the moment, but if we have that, I am so concerned that we're going to have a really progressive choice. And then all of a sudden we go, yeah, but let's vote for Mayor Pete, or let's vote for Gavin Newsom, or, ooh, let's vote for Elissa Slotkin. She seems to be very middle of the road. Playing the middle of the road, riding that fucking fence has got us to the place where we are in right now. Compromising with fascism is not going to give you democracy. It's going to give you half fascism. And eventually, if people have a choice between Coke and Diet Coke, they're going to pick the real thing. And I'm seeing a lot of people out there questioning whether or not democracy is even going to work anymore. So they're looking for other alternatives. FDR did not bring socialism to America. He saved capitalism. He went to those rich oligarchs and he's like, I got to tax you more. If I don't, the Communist Party is going to take over and they're coming with their fucking pitchforks. So, and my favorite quote from FDR is like, they hate me and I welcome their hatred. Thank you, FDR, for actually doing the right thing. But at the same time, don't give me this whole, he brought socialism to America. He saved capitalism from itself because this is the natural evolution of the capital model. Eventually, it gets to be untenable and then it becomes fascism because people cannot survive in late stage capitalism. Goods cost too much, services cost too much, housing costs too much, healthcare costs too much. They can't afford to live. And then people start rising up on the streets. And then that's when fascism comes in and puts those people down. Either hurts them, injures them, kills them, ships them off to another country. Fascism will push it down. And capital always runs to fascism. Always. Because that's where it's safe, where they get to keep their money. And FDR came to them and was like, either you start paying more taxes and we start having a more egalitarian style of economics, or the pitchforks are going to come for you. And then what? So another little small point to this. Today, Jerry Connolly, who, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but right there at the beginning of January, the House Oversight Committee, they were picking the chair for the House Oversight Committee. Not the chair, the head Democrat, because the Republicans are in power, they would have the chair. But they were looking for a representative to go in there. AOC she put her hat in the ring for House Oversight. House Oversight is basically looking over all of this decision making of what's going on in Congress. And it is probably the most vocal, most visible position that you can have, in Congress, is being the head person on the Oversight Committee. And AOC put her hat in the ring. And Nancy Pelosi, who was on a skiing trip, broke her hip, and from her hospital bed started making phone calls to all the other Congress members to not vote for AOC, to vote for the next in line, because Democrats don't really seem to give a shit about who's got the best policy or who is the natural leader, who's got the biggest voice. There's no question. In the Democratic Party, it's AOC. She's got the most name recognition. She's got the best rhetoric. She is the heir apparent. It ain't Elissa Slotkin. It's AOC. But Nancy Pelosi did not want her to have this position. She wanted this guy, Jerry Connolly. Jerry Connolly is this sprightly young 75-year-old with throat cancer. I shit you not, with throat cancer, to be the most outspoken representative on the House Oversight Committee. Nancy Pelosi picks a guy, a septuagenarian with throat cancer, to be this position. And it worked. All of those phone calls that Nancy Pelosi made got like 135 votes or 134 votes for Jerry Connolly. AOC still managed to get like 87 votes, and it was just the two of them. So Jerry Connolly got the spot. Well, Jerry Connolly, who has now been in this position for not even 4 months, I think like 3 months, like a little over 3 months, is now stepping down. And I think that this is going to be his last term because the guy's got fucking throat cancer and he's an old man. So it is a very distinct possibility that AOC could actually get a shot. Now, the DNC has a problem. They could, just let it slide and let her have this spot where she will be very vocal. She'll be in front of cameras a lot more. She'll be on that oversight committee and you will hear her voice a lot more. Or they could deny her again, pick some 90-year-old fuckwit that's next in line, and then it'll just make everybody even angrier about the situation. AOC will still get more spotlight, it's like a lose-lose. So I honestly, for the DNC, it's probably in their best interest to just let AOC have this oversight committee spot. Let's see what happens. But I saw an interview. I don't know if you guys know this guy. His name is Kevin O'Leary. He's on Shark Tank. Now he is some right-wing pundit that's on news channels these days. And he's always talking about the virtues of capitalism, just pretending like that we're not in late stage capitalism, borderline, oligarchic fascist rule. He's just pretending like that. And he was talking shit about AOC, saying she doesn't believe in the American dream. And he explains that the American dream is, basically Donald Trump. And let's work that out in our heads. Donald Trump won the American dream by being born with millions of dollars and then squandering that money and yet still making money because he has millions of dollars. Now he has billions of dollars. That's the American dream. This guy's a fucking Canadian. No offense to Canada, but y'all can take this motherfucker back. Fuck this guy. Jesus, it's killing my voice to say, to scream. But god damn, this guy is a epic fuck up beyond recognition. And this guy should never be on the news. He was dressing down AOC on CNN, and one of the CNN hosts says, well, I don't think that AOC means what you mean by the American dream. It's not about being a billionaire. The American dream is about being able to live a comfortable life, have a house, a car in the garage, a couple of kids, the ability to take a vacation once or twice a year, have a little bit of money in the bank and a little bit of security for you and your children's future. That's the American dream. No. Kevin O'Leary is, I want to stick all the money in my ears and go, that's the American dream. I want to be on a boat, drinking Mai Tais and eating bonbons. And I want, hand servants to be massaging my feet and fanning me and peeling me grapes. That is the American dream. This guy does not know his ass from his fucking elbow. And to have this foreign idiot from Canada who's on TV playing a capitalist, this guy is just, he's cosplaying as a capitalist, this guy, Kevin O'Leary, to come on television, on the news, to say, no, you don't know what the American dream is. The American dream is being a wealthy billionaire. And if you say anything otherwise, I'm going to say you need to take that back. And he literally looked at the newscaster whose show it was and says, how dare you say those things? How dare you say that I don't know what the American dream is? You need to take that back and never say that again. Now, in her defense, she laughs at it, kind of just laughs it off. I would have not had that restraint. I'd have been like, bitch, get off my fucking show. Who the fuck you think you are? Get out of here. I'll never have you on my program again. But, she works for CNN, and CNN, they like to play the middle. They like to play the centristy thing. So she lets him off, lets him off the hook. But goddamn, man. These centrists are not the way. Not trying to quote the Mandalorian over here, but that is not the way. The way is Bernie. The way is AOC. If we do not get a progressive in 2026 and in 2028, if we don't get a massive swing towards actual, real, populist progressivism, I do not know what the future holds. But I can personally guarantee you that Elissa Slotkin, Rahm Emanuel, Governor Gavin Newsom, and Mayor Pete, those people are not the answer, folks. they are not going to get this done. They're going to triangulate and they're going to parse out the bullshit until democracy is done. So keep that in mind when you go to vote in 2026. We can't take any more of these let's play the middle, ride the fence, Bill Clinton-esque triangulation. It ain't working. It ain't 1992 anymore, folks. This is 2025, and we're borderline a fascist nation now. And we need all hands on deck. So, Bernie, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Maxwell Frost. That is the way. Keep that in mind. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.